Yeah, David Newton again. First, have you talked to AJ and what's his mood? And the second, Carl Edwards suggested that maybe drivers need to unite and hire their own testing company when you guys go in for the test so they can have
Yeah, I read that,
yeah. So what do you think about that and AJ?
No, I haven't spoke with AJ, and I don't know anything more than what you guys know. I assume that if AJ wanted me to know more, he would call me or tell me or text me or whatever, or someone from his group would. So I've kind of taken that as a signal for him not wanting me to be involved, which is okay. So that's kind of where I'm at there. But no, I've read all the same things and listened to what everybody's had to say, and there's a lot of different takes on what it means. I think I have different views than most everybody else does on it. I'm certainly not supportive of Carl's idea. I don't think that there's a place for things like that. I don't think we need more politics involved in the sport, and that's what groups like that bring in. I think it's a greater question to me of when I look at the issue at hand with AJ. There's been some people that have said it doesn't matter what it was, but I disagree with that. I think it does matter what it was. It does to me. It might not to everybody else. But it matters to me what it was because there's always going to be that level of uncertainty that I have over any athlete or driver that performs at these levels and what they're taking or not taking. It's so difficult to give a great explanation of how I feel about it, but I think that I want to believe that any performer or athlete out there would not be dumb enough to take a drug that is against the law, illegal. It just stands to reason that if you've made it this far in the sport, that you had the knowledge to not do anything that dumb. But I don't know. I don't know if that's what it was. I hope it wasn't. I hope it was something simple of a stimulant or whatever release he put out. If that's the case, it does make a difference. It makes a huge difference because it's my personal belief, and I've gone through the injuries and so forth. I think you guys saw that last year. It's my personal belief that nothing should be allowed. Nothing. I mean, I don't feel like you should be able to take Flintstone pills. It's my personal belief. I think your race car drivers, you should have to overcome it. I think it's a bunch of bullshit that people are allowed to take stimulants or whatever, not stimulants, but supplements, any of those things. I don't think that's right. I don't think any athlete should be allowed to take that. But that's my own personal beliefs. But where the gray area comes in is, what is allowed per, the law is not necessarily what's allowed per the, whatever drug codes through all these sports. And that creates a whole other set of issues that, I'm not supportive of. That's why I think nothing should be allowed. So at the end of the day, there are things that are still allowed. And who gets to pick and choose what they are, I don't know. I don't understand that process. I know my own personal code of avoiding it is to take nothing at all. But I can still tell you that when you go in that room to have a drug test took, and I've never taken drugs in my life, I'm scared shitless of it. It's honestly a phobia of mine. But I go in that room, and I'm still scared because you know that if something goes wrong, it's a death sentence for your career. It's over. And you know it's in human hands. And by the very nature of being in human hands, there's potential for error. I'd like to sit here and believe that it's gone through all the processes to make sure that it was done right and that no one would go out on a limb and risk someone's career if it wasn't checked, and back-checked. But I also know that the course of history shows that humans make mistakes even when they check, and recheck. That's why airplanes crash. That's how things go. There's plenty of redundancies in the airlines, and they still find a way to crash every once again. So there's mixed emotions for sure on my end. I wish that the pool of athletes that compete and make money like we do, whether it's here today in NASCAR or the NFL or even the Olympics, it would be my preference that you were allowed to take nothing, and that it was your job to just do it, to just go out there and perform throughout the pain, whatever it is that ails you. But obviously that's not the situation, and until we get together as a group or as a society and make that a position, there's always going to be this gray area to where we're asking ourselves what supplement is right and what's not. You know, what's okay and what's not. You know, I laugh out loud when I read this list of people who say, well, I have my supplements checked. Like there's some special list of supplements that are okay, but these aren't. Oh, what kind of world is that? You know, that's terrible. Nothing should be allowed. Because then it just comes down to who you've got for a doctor or a lawyer that says that this is okay and this is not. And I think we all know that you can get a doctor or a lawyer these days to say you're okay with anything you do. It reminds me of an old Jeff Foxworthy joke about the difference between, you know, kids and senior citizens. And you worry about drugs with both of them. The only difference is one's legal and one's not. You know, I can remember having grandmas and so forth that took drugs that would knock you out, and they couldn't even, you know, stand up. They were all legal, you know, and they might not be legal in this sport, but you still have to wonder about those things. So, you know, I'm sure I have different views than everyone else. I don't think there needs to be any committee that approves drugs or supplements or whatever it is. I just think you shouldn't be allowed to take anything. You should just man up and drive the damn race car.
Are you naive to think that everybody's doing that, though? I mean, in lower series, you've seen it happen with Fike, with what, heroin? And
Sure. I believe that there are people that have taken drugs and drove race cars before. I mean, I'm sure that's happened before. I think when you get to this level, there's been so many systems to check and recheck that you would like to think somebody has made it that far that they're not dumb enough to take a recreational drug. But things happen. I mean, I'm not going to say it never happened, and that could be what it is, but it certainly does make a difference what he took in my eyes.
Okay, we'll go to Steve, then Claire.
Steve Richards at PRN. What advice would you give AJ right now?
If he asked for it, man, I don't even know. I don't know where to start. You know, I hope that he's taking some time to spend with his family and finds what he needs, you know, within himself. Because no matter what the outcome is, it's going to be a long road.
Do you think his reputation is beyond repair? I guess it will depend on what it all comes out to be, but I mean, no matter what.
Sure.
What about the reputation?
Well, I
angle?
mean, whether it comes back positive or negative, it doesn't make a difference. It's still a death sentence. Within the sport, we rely on sponsors and reputation. And it seems like those headlines for the corrections section in the newspaper is always in a much smaller print. I don't know if you noticed that or not. Much smaller print. Well, I don't think that's any different through the rest of society.
Go ahead with your question, Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. When it comes to supplements, do you feel like the drivers that take them for health, herbs, whatever they're taking, have a benefit over you? You know that
Absolutely, yeah.
Correct.
Without
Because
doubt.
some drivers take them and take the ones that they feel the NFL uses, or
Sure.
you know, and they feel that's safe. Others don't take them at all. Are the ones such as yourself that don't take them at a disadvantage driving a race car?
Well, it stands to reason, yes. I mean, you would think that medical science has created these items to make a gain, not just to take them, but I'm sure there's ones out there that just taste good. But I'm sure that there's ones out there that create a performance advantage. I'm scared shitless of them, and I don't take them because that moment where this could potentially happen to you, I know what kind of death sentence that is, and I would rather work harder and overcome it than risk the potential for having a moment where you don't pass a drug test.
Okay, we'll take a question right here up front.
Just to follow up on this, are you, as an organization, were you guys shocked by the results, or are you guys more disappointed at
I
AJ?
don't know how you couldn't be shocked. I've certainly I wasn't cheering about it. How about that? You know, it's a tough thing to see. I mean, it's as a race car driver, to me, it's like watching somebody get killed because you know what it is to that person's career, and it's it's a devastating moment.
Final question for Brad. All right, Nate?
I'm just reading over again what you said. When you say it does make a difference what he took, does it make a difference because he should get dispensation if it's a stimulant versus a narcotic, or I mean, are you saying that if it's a certain type of substance, he should get leeway? Is that kind of what you're implying there? Or?
What I'm saying is the difference between a recreational drug versus, whatever you want to call it, some kind of supplement, stimulant, etc. One's legal and one's not. And, society obviously has made a case for one that it has not for the other. And that means the sports world is in limbo trying to decide between the two as well. And we don't seem to have an answer.